policies. If we've got a South Asian Prime Minister who will implement policies that will disproportionately impact South Asian communities, then tell me what there is to celebrate, because I can't see it. Rishi Sunak is our first British Prime Minister from an Indian background. He is an MP from a very wealthy background. He was educated at Winchester College, a private school, where I believe the fees are around £46,000 a year. And Rishi Sunak becoming our Prime Minister was hailed as this victory for anti-racism, demonstrating that anyone, regardless of their background, can become Prime Minister, can inherit, the highest office in the land. And my argument is actually, no, it's about wealth, it's about class. When I grew up in Luton, where 46% of the children grow up in poverty, when you look at the backgrounds of British Pakistanis, for instance, and British Bangladeshis, who have higher poverty rates of 54% and 59%, I believe, when I last looked at the statistics, we are struggling with the cost of living crisis. We've struggled with the austerity cuts to public services, who Rishi Sunak, by the way, will be implementing further. So I think we are living in completely different worlds. And the average South Asian in this country does not have the same level of wealth that Rishi Sunak has. And that's a real issue. And that's why when we talk about diversity, we have to consider social class. Does the average British Pakistani kid growing up in Bradford who attended a state comprehensive relate to Rishi Sunak? Does the Bangladeshi worker on minimum wage have anything in common with Rishi Sunak? We need to move beyond this surface level representation and actually talk about the nitty-gritty, talk about the policies, and talk about the impact that would have on British South Asians. I saw a lot of commentary around Rishi Sunak, and predominantly, by the way, from white people, from people outside the community, saying this was a great, significant moment in our history, that anyone, regardless of the colour of their skin, can make it into the highest office in the land. And we've seen, for instance, when we look at the Home Office, we've had numerous British South Asian Home Secretaries who've still implemented things like the legislation that led to the Windrush scandal, that have still implemented, for instance, the Rwanda policy, the inhumane policy where people are being deported to another country. So for me, I understand, even in our own community, why someone would look at Rishi Sunak and say, wow, look, that's progress. 50 years ago, we couldn't even walk on certain roads without getting beaten up. I can understand why you might feel a sense of comfort. But for me, it comes back to the policies. If we've got a South Asian Prime Minister who will implement policies that will disproportionately impact South Asian communities, then tell me what there is to celebrate, because I can't see it. During the leadership election, Rishi Sunak actually ignored an appeal to take Islamophobia seriously. I think there was a parliamentary group that demanded action. Liz Truss said that she would take a zero tolerance approach. And Rishi Sunak has been criticised in the past for kind of downplaying the far right. I think this speaks to a wider issue actually in the Conservative Party of Islamophobia. We know that there are significant issues amongst the membership of the Conservative Party who hold Islamophobic views, and there's been numerous polls to demonstrate that. The Conservative Party does not take Islamophobia seriously. I have very little hope that Rishi Sunak will do an adequate job of taking the issue seriously. And as far as I'm concerned, regardless of who was leading the Conservative Party, it would make no material difference. So really, I don't think there will be any difference at all, Rishi Sunak becoming Prime Minister. In fact, I believe actually that the Conservative Party will use Rishi Sunak's background to claim that they do not have issues around intolerance and issues around bigotry because they've got these people of colour in these positions. Rishi Sunak himself has said that, he believes Jerusalem is Israel's historic capital. So it's very much a continuation of Conservative Party policy. He's vowed to fight the boycott, divestments and sanctions movement that is used to put pressure on Israel to respect the human rights of Palestinians. And unfortunately, there is very little that changes with Rishi Sunak becoming Prime Minister. The trajectory always with the Conservative Party was things were going to get worse. They were going to continue to legitimize what Israel is doing to the Palestinians. So a win for Rishi Sunak is very different to a win for our communities, because he can claim that, yes, I've got the public finances under control, while at the same time we can say that we've been impacted the most because of your policies. So I've never sort of saw myself or my community in the same boat as Rishi Sunak. I think our success and his success is very different and sometimes contradictory.